Wine. We all know that we love it. But what is it that we like? Why should I buy this one over another? Why would this one cost more? These are the questions we have been asked all over the world for centuries, and many have put themselves through rigorous training in an attempt to answer these questions.
It's pretty amazing the amount of information you have to know.
The regions, the sub-regions, the districts, the villages.
Why certain years were good, how to serve it, what to eat with every different kind of wine.
Alongside these wine experts who have swirled, sniffed and sipped countless bottles to obtain their knowledge, we have also looked to the media for wine advice. Like many things, this has evolved throughout time, together with the progression of media technologies. Through print media, we sought out books and magazines. Then, through the internet, we looked toward countless wine websites and blogs. Now, through the emergence of the smartphone, we have the answers right at our fingertips with the evolution of the wine app. Wine recommendations and review apps have become a popular platform for the selection and purchasing of wine. With over 600 applications in the marketplace, the abundance of information available to the everyday individual is like nothing we have ever seen. For the purpose of this study, we will focus on one app in particular, the leading platform in the marketplace, Vivino. Founder and CEO Heini Zachariasen developed the app as he was a wine lover but needed help when choosing wine. Vivino has quickly taken off to be the largest wine community in the world. It is open in 10 markets, with over 13,000 wine merchants participating in the growth of this app. With over 9 million bottles in its database, it draws a crowd of over 26 million total users who are seeking out that wine information. These users can scan around 500,000 bottles of wine per day. Of the scanned bottles, over 100,000 of them are then rated. So essentially, Heine created Vivino to fulfill a need for instantaneous wine advice that he could take anywhere, store, and of course, share. That sounds amazing, right? You can now go into a store, scan a bottle of wine, and receive all the information you need to know before making any purchase decisions. What's more, you can also see what other people thought of the wine, or even better yet, go into a restaurant, take a photo of the wine list and receive an instant recommendation. But what then happens to the guy who's waiting in the store at the counter? Or what happens to the sommeliers who put themselves through years of training and hard work to simply be overtaken by a wine application? Sommelier Scott Tyree at Chicago-based fine dining restaurant Maple and Ash reported just that. A customer denied his service in preference for Vivino. Now Scott not only has qualifications and experience with making wine recommendations, he also holds specific knowledge on that specific wine list served with that specific food, having chosen those exact wines himself. So why would someone then be driven to trade that level of knowledge for an application that delivers peer-reviewed opinions on a specific bottle, which is simply based on their individual preferences rather than an academically assessed conclusion of quality? Okay, so let's put knowledge and accuracy aside for a moment and assess this media platform separately. Then essentially what we will end up with is humans trading actual social interaction and encounters for digital ones. Communications professor at Stanford University, Clifford Nass, agrees, stating that we're seeing people so absorbed in digital media that it's becoming their primary reference point for life. Sherry Turkle, a professor of social studies of science and technology at MIT, also agrees, suggesting that digital immersion is seductive because it seemingly addresses our human vulnerabilities. In her book, Alone Together, she states that, as it turns out, we are very vulnerable. We are lonely but fearful of intimacy. Constant connectivity offers an illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship. We can't get enough of each other if we have each other at a distance and in amounts that we can control. Hence, the success of media platforms like Vivino are simply due to the connectivity of users. The large user content, in a way, offers a sense of legitimacy for the user, though not necessarily being legitimate. Whilst harmoniously, it avoids contact with sommeliers or wine professionals that could potentially expose those vulnerabilities. Essentially, we can turn it off. Moreover, as we continue to use technology at such demanding rates, We have become less patient for particular skills, pace, and even the understandings of face-to-face interaction. Ultimately, we're using technologies to dial down human contact. Whilst Vivino is fantastic in the way that it can produce and share a wealth of information about a specific wine in an instant, ultimately it comes in replacement of meaningful human interaction.